Tonight we're talking about who owns your orgasm. Well, we always say we want to hear from people on Facebook, from
Right,
texters, etc., who can tell us what they would like to hear
right.
on the air.
I think if you're dealing with sexuality, there's so many different aspects to deal with. This being one such, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's an
Mm-hmm.
issue for men as well as it is for women.
Well, this is what I was hoping you would say, Gavin, although we didn't discuss it ahead of time. I was hoping you'd say that because I think when we talk about certain topics, we think it's exclusively a man topic
Hmm.
or exclusively a woman topic.
Right,
And when
right.
you talk about orgasms, everybody believes only women have orgasms.
Hmm.
And therefore, only women have problems with orgasms.
Or the flip,
Mm.
you get the impression that it's only men that are benefiting from the orgasmic experience.
Precisely. And that every time a man ejaculates, it's an orgasm.
Yes.
So these are some of the
yes,
things that we want to
yes,
talk about
yes,
tonight
yes.
and look at what are the ways of achieving a better orgasm.
Hmm.
And obviously, one size doesn't fit all.
Excellent.
Right? As a matter of fact, Gavin, we talked about it before in terms of therapy. I'm very careful what I recommend
Hmm.
for young couples
Right.
and for couples who are just starting out with lovemaking
Hmm.
because I tend to be biased towards the penis. And I tend to want to recommend that they, as much as possible,
Give the penis a
and
chance.
give the penis a chance.
Yeah.
Give it some space.
I'm
All
glad
right,
that
all right.
you're for the penis. I mean,
yeah,
that
yeah,
is
I'm for
positive.
that. I think we have two organs that go well together. We should keep them
Yes,
together.
yes, yes.
And so I'm kind of against anything that's going to replace the penis.
Mhm.
If it's going to work alongside the penis or the vagina,
Right.
then I'm happy to recommend it. And certainly for couples who just get into that place where they're comfortable with each other.
Right.
You see, the penis can't compete with some of these aids, and I wouldn't want there to be a competition.
And that's why I'm glad you mentioned that
Mhm.
because again, I mean, you speak a lot about masturbation being a
Mhm.
key tool in
Oh, absolutely.
helping men and women
Mm-hmm.
in not only understanding themselves and how they would choose to be explored or what turns
Right.
them on,
Yes.
but also in controlling their ejaculation, etc.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
In that kind of a situation where the woman and or man is self-pleasuring, but in the case of the woman where she's self-pleasuring with gadgets, then
Yes.
or with
Yes.
toys or with
Yeah.
adult aids,
Yeah.
doesn't the penis get a as you're saying like a
Jealous?
yes,
It
you know what I
has
mean?
like toy envy?
Yes,
Okay.
you know,
The
and
truth
doesn't
is,
that
it
make
has
the
an
woman
impact on
too?
the relationship.
Yes,
It has an
yes.
impact on the relationship. And that's why I say if this is happening as well as, I'm saying in my kind of rigid notion, anything that takes away from the mutual pleasure that you'd experience together
Mhm.
is not healthy for the relationship. Now, if you and your partner agree that you have different sex drives and therefore,
Mhm.
as long as your partner isn't withholding sex from you
Right.
and engaging with toys, and you're aware that your partner is using these sex aids and you're comfortable with it,
Mhm.
then I don't see a problem with that. I still, for young couples, as I say, still kind of try and encourage things that don't replace the penis and don't
Okay.
replace the vagina.
Mhm.
So, as we were saying before the hour-long
Yeah,
orgasm,
yeah. The
yeah,
multiple
so the
orgasms
multiple
and
orgasm.
And on average, how long does it last? Or multiple orgasms?
Well, you were telling me that it normally lasts about 20 minutes per
20
orgasm,
seconds,
20
20
seconds per
seconds,
orgasm.
yeah.
But here's what I'm going to differentiate between. And this is for sex therapists now.
Mhm.
The serial orgasm,
Right.
where you have a 20-second orgasm,
Mhm.
stop, 20-second orgasm, stop,
Mhm.
is not what we describe as a multiple orgasm. A multiple orgasm in our minds when we're talking in therapy is several orgasms at the same time.
At the same time.
At the same time. You cannot learn to be multi-orgasmic. You're born multi-orgasmic.
Okay.
But you can learn to have several orgasms in one event.
When you have a partner, for the case of, I mean, because as you know,
Mhm.
the women experience an orgasm is
Mhm.
harder and probably and
Mhm.
different from men.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a man who, a lot of women go for men with experience
Mm-hmm.
because they're saying that this brethren might be able to bring me to an
To an orgasm,
experience
right.
or orgasm that I probably wouldn't have got with a
Yeah.
rookie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what happens when that isn't met? That implicit
All right,
expectation.
and
is
you see, that's the challenge because, as you say, often we want to think of inexperienced woman, experienced man. That's going to be extremely frustrating for both, and for a number of reasons. One, the inexperienced woman doesn't know her body enough to know what gives her pleasure.
Right.
She's expecting it to come from the man. No such thing is going to happen. The man is used to having sex with women who already know their bodies and can experience pleasure. But he attributes it to himself. He thinks he's the one giving the pleasure. So when he now has sex with someone who isn't used to having pleasure, doesn't know how to arrive at her pleasure, he feels like a failure because he's not able to pleasure this inexperienced person, which is worse than if you weren't able to pleasure an experienced person.
Right.
Because then you could say, oh, well, this person's very experienced, that's why I am not able to satisfy them.
Right.
So that's a setup. You're setting yourself up there, and it happens over and over and over.
What about the persistent arousal syndrome?
Persistent vaginal arousal syndrome. And I love this particular diagnosis. Persistent, that means they've gone for a long time. Vaginal, it's in the vagina. Arousal, you feel horny. And it's a syndrome. It's something that happened to a number of people, and it's a dysfunction.
That nothing in Jamaica?
I've seen a number of cases.
Okay.
And I would suspect it's far more prevalent in Jamaica than we imagine. What we usually see is cases on the television and so of the extremes.
Okay.
And one extreme was a woman who was having 300 orgasms a day.
What? 300?
300
clinical-
involuntary
clinical orgasms.
Clinical orgasms. So she had non-stop orgasms throughout the day. And her present partner, she was married, divorced, obviously. He couldn't satisfy her.
Wow.
And her present partner, on occasion, has sex up to 10 times a day with her.
Wow.
And she's now able to control the experience a little better. But a woman who has persistent vaginal arousal syndrome is feeling arousal. Her body is responding. She's feeling these feelings. You know, I'm feeling the feeling, baby. And she's not receiving any stimulation. So even if she's not thinking about sex, her body is responding as if she's thinking about sex. And she can have an orgasm without touching herself.
Without touching herself?
Without touching herself, just by thinking.
It's
I think you have some facts that you want to share with us.
I just need to read this for my audience.
Yeah.
And this is just some research that is out there. I'm just reading it for the masses. It says, our research shows that most younger women do not manage to climax until some considerable time after they have started sexual activity. Moreover, when they do come for the very first time, they do so in a variety of ways. And in a survey which we conducted, which is not we, but the persons who did the study, in the book called The Big O, we found that 47% of women climax for the first time through masturbation, 32% through sexual intercourse, 20% through petting, and 1% while sleeping.
Good night. Have a good evening. We want to thank our guest, Fabian Thomas. And we want to thank Mahaley from the Sexy Shop for sending in that information on the sex aids. Our technical operator, the ever great Kirk Reed, who's been fantastic.
Bam, bam, bam.
Thank you, Kirk. And this has been another night of love and sex. Do call us on 977-0316 for a clinic appointment. I'm Karen Carpenter saying good night.
And I am Gavin Walters. And join us again Wednesday